I gotta be honest, the first time that I saw this inflatable fishing kayak, I kind of rolled my eyes, right? Because inflatable and serious fishing kayak usually don't belong in the same sentence. So is this just another gimmick, or could it actually replace a traditional fishing kayak? And after spending time with the Highlander, I have an answer. Let's hop in. Before we start handing out scores, let's talk about what this kayak actually is, right? Because I think a lot of people misunderstand it. The Highlander isn't trying to compete with like a Bonafide or an Old Town or like a New Canoe. It's solving a completely different problem. How do you build a legitimate fishing kayak that fits in the trunk of your car? You can pack it on vacation or store it in your apartment, right? So the Highlander is a 12-foot inflatable SUP kayak hybrid, right? It also comes in a 10-foot version. There's like a $100 difference in price. The 12-footer is 39 inches wide. This thing has a 450-pound weight capacity. And here's what blew my mind, right? The hull weight is just 34 pounds. Fully rigged, 41 pounds. That's lighter than a lot of those hard shell fishing kayaks before you even install the seat. Of course, you can paddle it if you want to. You can pedal it. You can rig it with a motor right there. I don't have a motor on it, but you can put one there. It includes this high-low Trek Light seat. You're gonna get 1, 2, 3, and there's one on the other side. These are going to be the gear tracks. You're going to get a convertible stand-up paddleboard kayak paddle, right? You're going to be able to oscillate back and forth if you want to. When you're finished fishing, the whole thing rolls into a wheeled travel bag. Now, here is something worth explaining, right? Camino Journey uses a welded drop stitch PVC construction. Now, it sounds pretty technical, but here's what it means. Thousands of internal fibers connect the top and bottom of this inflatable. So instead of feeling like an air mattress, it actually inflates into a surprisingly rigid fishing platform. That's why you can confidently stand and pedal and fish from this thing. I've actually seen trucks run these things over, no issue. It's wild. Which brings us to the next question everybody asks: how durable is this thing? And so let's get this one out of the way, because if you've never owned an inflatable, you're probably thinking exactly what I did, right? One sharp rock and it's over. Not even close, right? Modern inflatable fishing kayaks are far tougher than most anglers realize. And the Highlander is built to handle the abuse that comes with fishing. Those boat ramps, stumps, rocks, and really everyday use. Now, is it indestructible? No, but neither is a hard shell kayak. I've seen plastic kayaks crack. I've had them happen to myself. I've seen them wear completely through. And sure, a knife, a treble hook, or another sharp object can puncture it, but if you're worried that bumping into a stick is going to ruin your day, I honestly wouldn't be worried that much. These drop stitch inflatables are impressively tough. And within the inflatable category, I'm giving durability a 9 out of 10. All right, so now let's talk about stability. And this is where inflatable kayaks really shine, because most are designed with one priority, right? Stability first, performance second. And the Highlander is really no different. At 39 inches wide, it has a very shallow draft. It rides on top of the water instead of down in it. And the result is an incredibly confidence-inspiring fishing platform, right? Standing, casting, landing fish, all feels incredibly secure. Now, can you flip it? I'm sure you could, right? You can flip any kayak if you try hard enough, but honestly, you really would have to work at this. Most anglers would fall out or step off before they ever roll this kayak completely over. And that's the advantage of a wide inflatable platform, right? If stability is your priority, the Highlander absolutely delivers. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. But here's what's something that surprised me even more. It wasn't the stability, it was actually the speed. All right, so now let's talk about pedaling. I'm actually gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10. And here's what makes the Highlander different, right? There's simply aren't many inflatable pedal drive fishing kayaks on the market. There might be like 4 or 5 that I can think of off the top of my head. Most inflatables are designed to paddle. The Highlander can do both. It's compatible with either their traverse drive or a fin style pedal drive, and that dramatically expands what this kayak can do. You can cover more water, you can hold your position in the wind, you can make precise boat control adjustments and keep your hands semi-free to fish. Now, does it pedal exactly like a rigid hardshell kayak? No. Is there still a little flex in that hull? A little bit. But thanks to that drop stitch construction, it feels surprisingly solid. And for an inflatable pedal kayak, 8.5 out of 10. Now here's the catch. If you're buying this primarily as a paddling kayak, you may be disappointed, right? So I'm gonna give the paddling and maneuverability a 7 out of 10. Can you paddle it? Absolutely. It even comes with a 4-piece paddle that allows you to set it up like a kayak or a stand-up paddleboard paddle. But let's be realistic, it wasn't designed to be an elite paddling kayak. At 12 feet long, 39 inches wide, and with 3 tracking fins, it paddles well, but you're still pushing a wide inflatable platform through the water. So if paddling is your primary way of fishing, there are better options. The Highlander was designed to be pedaled first, in my opinion, motorized second, and paddled third. But when you start fishing from it, to be completely honest with you, that score becomes a whole lot less important. You get a clean open deck. I have a bunch of stuff on it right now, but it's got a comfortable high-low seat, pedal drive compatibility, motor compatibility, and enough capacity to carry everything you actually need. Standing up feels natural, casting feels natural, landing fish, being that you're so close to the water, feels natural. And what I really like is that Camino Journey really didn't overcomplicate things, right? They wanted to keep things simple, grab a paddle, want semi-hands-free fishing, install the pedal drive, want to cover even more water, add a motor. The Highlander really could adapt to how you like to fish, and that's exactly what good fishing kayaks should do. So I'm giving fishability on this bad boy a 9 out of 10. Now, the next score might actually surprise you because on paper, it's one of the lowest scores in this review, right? But I actually think it's one of the Highlander's biggest strengths. So let's talk about rigging and customization. I'm going to give this a 5.5 out of 10, right? Now, this score needs a little context because if I just told you 5.5 out of 10, you probably think that's a bad thing. I don't. In fact, I think Kayak gets this exactly right. So think about what you're buying an inflatable for in the first place. You want something lightweight, easy to transport, easy to store, something that fits in your trunk or in your apartment. So you're probably not looking for a kayak that takes an hour to rig before every trip. Now, the Highlander gives you what you actually need. It's going to give you 4 gear tracks, right, for whatever you want, electronics, cameras, your essential accessories. Then you've got stern mounting points for a motor, a rudder, anchor pull. Could Kayak have added tracks everywhere? Absolutely. But every extra accessory adds weight, it's going to add costs and complexity. And that starts defeating the purpose of owning an inflatable, in my opinion, in the first place. I actually appreciate that they kept it simple, rig what you need, skip what you don't, spend more time actually fishing. All right, so now let's talk about something you'll appreciate around hour 6, right, is comfort. And the Trek Lite high-low seat is one of my favorite features on this kayak. You can switch between the high and low position right here by folding this back. You can go high for better visibility and easier stand-up fishing if you're planning on spending all day chasing bass. So now let's talk about transport. This is where the Highlander completely separates itself, right? The hull weighs 34 pounds, fully rigged 41 pounds. And when you're done fishing, simply deflate it, roll it into the travel bag, throw it in your trunk, go home. No trailer, no roof rack, no truck bed extender, no wrestling around a 100-pound kayak over your head. So if portability is why you're considering an inflatable kayak, the Highlander absolutely delivers. It's one of the easiest 10 out of 10 scores I've ever given. Now let's talk about setup. Now, every kayak has its trade-off, and this is where the Highlander's is, right? Every trip starts with a setup. Every trip ends with packing it away again. Is it difficult? Not at all. It just takes a little bit of time, and one thing that makes a huge difference is using a quality electric pump like the Outdoor Master Shark 3, which is the one I have. The thing's freaking awesome. It does almost all the work for you. Now, it's going to speed up the entire process. So yes, setup is the price you kind of pay for incredible portability, and so I'm giving setup a 6 out of 10. Let's check out the turning radius on this. Full to the right. How long it takes to do full circle? Okay, you guys kind of see. I'd say about 25 yards to do a full circle. When it comes to sound and noise on the motor, to be honest with you, I have this on the Kayak 128 Outpost, and it reverberates a lot louder than a hardshell kayak. But this inflatable kayak, it doesn't sound nearly as loud. So I would say if you've ever been in a propel drive, it sounds about the same. All right, now we're at the room for improvement section. There's just a lot of things going on with this motor. If you want to pull it up, you got to do 4 different things. You got to unlock it, right? You got to go here to the prop indexer. Got to find where it locks in, unlock it down here, lift it up, then pull it up, then clean it out. And to put it down, it just won't go down. Got to go behind here, push these 2 clickers together. You got to put it down. Now you can unlock it, let it slide down, and then you gotta close this. There's a lot of steps. Doable, just a lot of steps. All right, this one's actually probably a large problem. So if you're gonna use these Camino Journey mounts and kind of put a lock and load from Yak Attack in, they need reinforced. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So if we're gonna lock this down, and let's say this is behind me and I have my boomstick. Once you put these in, put any type of weight on it, pop right out. So Actually, I had my phone fall in the water. So these need reinforced, because that is not I mean, it might be good for like a track pack. It's not going to pop out. But if you have any type of boomstick or Panfish Pro from Yak Attack and using these, and you put weight on the end, that will, especially in the heat, it's going to pop out on you. All right, another piece of room for improvement. The nylon on this is too stretchy, right? I'm just kind of leaning back in this thing. And the nylon stretches, and here's the biggest issue. If you push back too hard, they slip. And so this nylon's a little too slick, in my opinion, for the kayak seat straps. It'll keep slipping. So needs to be a different material. Who is this kayak really for? Built for a very specific angler, right? Someone who wants a legitimate fishing kayak without the hassle of owning a traditional hard shell kayak. In fact, the closest competitor, in my opinion, is going to be the Hobie AirTrek Angler, right? Those are two kayaks I compare if I were shopping in this category. So now let's talk price. The Highlander itself, the 12-footer, sells for around $1,000 at the time of the shooting, but the pedal drive is roughly $1,100. So that puts this complete package with the pedal drive at around $2,100. Is it cheap? No, but compared to other premium inflatable pedal drive kayaks in this category, it's pretty competitively priced. Now, I have a couple other reviews on inflatables. If you want to check this one out right here, this is the IATAK from Wilderness Systems. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the company behind Kajo, I sat down with Josh Thomas from Camino Journey for a great conversation. You can check that out right here. Thanks for watching, guys. See you out in the water.